Hello and welcome to Decision Making in Programming tutorial. In this tutorial, we will cover the decisional structure of an if and if-else statement utilizing a program. Alright, let's talk decisional structures and making decisions in programming. Before going over the program, let's break down the basic concepts of if statement and make sure we understand relational operators and expressions. Being able to conditionally execute statements or skip over statements is very important in programming as it is in real life situations. Every day we make lots of decisions based on any given situation. For example, if it rains, then we use umbrella. If it's sunny, we use sunglasses, and so on and so forth. In real life situations and in programming, the word if will give us the opportunity to evaluate our situation and make our decisions accordingly. Our common sense allows us to autonomously make those decisions in our lives, but in programming, on the other hand, we need to use a bunch of codes and follow certain syntax rules to do the same thing. Following are what we need to know before being able to write an if statement. These are understood by our arithmetic logic unit in our CPU, and we get to use them to help us navigate through our decisional structures. As you can see, these are our relational operators, the greater than, less than, greater than, or equal sign. Please note, we don't have a specific key for greater than or equal on our keyboard, so we need to use greater sign immediately followed by an equal sign. The same thing for less than or equal to. And then we have our equal, which translates to equal to. Please note that this is different than when we use only one equal sign, which is for assignment statements. Moving on, we have our not equal to, which is again one of those important operators that we use. Now let's talk logical and logical or. Before we even start this, let's talk about where you can find them on your keyboard. Logical and, which are two ands back to back, are on your keyboard shift and 2 sevens. If you hold your shift down 2 sevens, you're going to have your and logical and. And last but not least, the logical or. You can find this on your keyboard above your enter key. Shift backslash, meaning shift 2 backslashes, will give you the logical or operator. Here is a little exercise to understand how the logical and or evaluates to and how does it work. As you can see, for and to be true, both side has to be true. Whereas for an or sign, as long as one side is true, the whole statement will hold true. This is very important to understand, as the difference between an and an or in your program can easily be a logical error. Another thing I want to mention before we look at our code is our relational expression, which are true or false. For example, 12 greater than 5 evaluates to be true, but 7 less than or equal to 5 evaluates to be false. Keep in mind that true assigns 1 in our compiler and false assigns a 0 in our compiler. Alright, in this tutorial we will be adding on to the program we wrote in Introduction to C++ video that I have. If you have not watched that video and you're wondering how we got here, please make sure to watch my Introduction to C++ tutorial video before watching this video. Okay, let the fun begin. This is the fun part. So here's the program that we used in the last video of Introduction to C++. Again, if you haven't watched that one, watch that one first before this one. As you can see, we already got our preprocessor directives for IOStream, for IOManip, and for our string. And we're using the standard namespace. We're getting our inputs in here. Now, when we're getting our inputs, I want to do a little input validation. I want to make sure that whatever the user is inputting is not a negative number, because the grades can't be a negative number. To do that, we can simply write an if statement in telling the user that if the grades are less than 0, then enter a positive number. But what I want to highlight in here is the difference between or and that we're going to be using over here. Right now, I'm using an or sign in here, saying that if either one of these grades were less than 0, then I want a message to be printed out saying that enter a positive number before the rest of the program is executed. But let's go ahead and run this program very quick. So you guys can see how this is going to be working throughout the program. So right now I can put 3 different numbers, and I'm going to make one of them to be negative. And what it's going to happen, it's going to tell me like enter a positive number. Now if I change this to an and sign, what happens now, the program wants to make sure that all 3 of these are going to be less than 0 before this message is printed out. Otherwise, it's going to move on with the rest of the program. Let's run this program and see how it's going to happen. So now that I'm going to run this program, I'm going to go ahead and put, let's say, negative 98, 68, and 98. It's going to ask me for my name. And sure enough, it's going to calculate it, and it's going to give me the result without saying that, you know, one of your grades were negative. So that's the reason it's very important to know when to use and when to use or. I'm going to go ahead and move this back to or sign, and we're going to move on with the rest of the program. So as we move on, now that we have done our input validation, in the else clause, in the else block statement, I've put the whole program. Now over here, I'm going to else if the numbers were not negative, then we want to calculate the average. And then over here, we're going to be getting our name or the user's name. I am using getLine in here. Last program we used cin. The cin that we use in the last program, we can get one variable at a time. What getLine does, it'll allocate enough memory for a whole line. Now we have to be very careful, because when that happens, things may stay around in cache. So every time we use a get line, we may want to use scene.ignore or scene.clear somewhere around the program to make sure that everything is cleared from the cache and nothing is sticking around, because all of those can cause some kind of minor errors in our program. So that's the reason I have the scene.ignore beforehand, and then I have my get line, which this is the syntax for it, get line in parentheses cin and name. Now we can go ahead and type in our full name. Now moving on to the rest of the program, now here is the structure of the if statement that we're using in here. Now a couple of things I want to point out in here. Right now in this program, we want to say that if the grade is between 90 and 100, you got an A. If it's between 80 and 90, you got a B, and so on. So one thing that we got to make sure that we pay attention to, if we are writing this inside of our if statement, we cannot say, and I see this many students make this mistake, they say if average is greater or equal to 90 and less than or equal to 100, they forget to put the word average again. Because we're not using our common sense, it's the logic that we're using in here. Everything we do, it has to be completely descriptive. We have to write it out. So we're writing if average is greater or equal to 90 and average is less than or equal 100. I am using an and sign in here. If I say an or, then again we're going to get a logical error down when it comes to other grades. It's important that whenever you know the limits, when you know the lowest and the highest point, then and if you're looking at that range, and would be a good idea to use. If you're using outside of range, you don't know what the range is, then or would be a better fit for it. In this case, I know exactly between 90 and 100 is when the grade is going to be A, so I'm going to be using an and sign, and I would say average greater or equal to 90 and average less than or equal to 100. And then I have a simple cout statement congratulating using a string literal, and of course I'm bringing in the name. I have a little escape sequence in here, which we talked about it in the last video, and I'm getting a set precision, because if it's going to be a double, then I just want 2 decimal point, and then the rest of the message. And same with the next line. Now we're going to say else if, and that's because now we have another condition. If we didn't have any other condition, then all we had to do just put if statement and then else. If else would have done it like the input validations that we had up there. In this case, because we have another condition, then I can put else if, then I'm gonna write my condition and so on and so forth. Now, one other thing that I want to point out in here, I only have one line of statement for each one of these if statements. If I had more than one line, then I should have put each one of these statements in a block statement. Block statements are nothing more than the curly braces that goes around statements. In this case, I only have one statement in here, but if I had more than one statement, then I would definitely need these around it to make sure that all of the statements are gonna execute under this condition, under this if condition. Otherwise, that's not gonna happen, and only the first statement is gonna be executed. So let's run the program one more time and see what would be the output in here. So here is my console. I'm going to be putting 3 different numbers, and it's going to ask me for my name, and here is the output. This will conclude this video tutorial. Hopefully this video helped you understand the concept of decision structure using if statement in C++ better.